Hi, how is everyone? What's going on? I just realized that I did not, let's see, I did not kind of notify anyone. So I guess I should just do that quickly. And I'm behind and I didn't want to be too behind. So here I am. Hello, how is everyone? I'm so glad I'm here. I'm just putting this okay, so hold on. Everyone, Twitter. Just putting it on Twitter. There's no one here anyway. Tonight at 9 p.m. Okay, that's done. How is everyone? I said that 3 times already. Welcome to Living in the Light, and I'm Mary Amy, and I'm all about shifting away darkness, guiding you to your truest potential, and cracking open that beautiful glowing light in your heart. And I know it's 9 o'clock, or it's actually 9:06, but I felt really bad. I wasn't here last night, and I caught up on, I had 10 hours of sleep last night. I was so tired with my job in the Matrix. That job in the Matrix, I'm at the computer for 5 hours punching in numbers, and I was tired. I don't think that's good for our eyes. It's not good for our eyes, is it? Well, today is March 16th. It's Thursday in the Matrix work week, and tomorrow's Friday. Oh, hey, Trident. So excited. It may be late. Most worked perfect for me, but yeah, you have a Matrix schedule too. Well, here we are. So there's a lot going on out there. And I've shared with you, we spoke about the banks, the bank crashes. It looks like they're getting bailed out. I don't know where they're getting that $2 trillion and all the other money they're speaking of helping out with. But I know that Credit Suisse was having trouble, and there was another bank. So there was 5 banks in trouble, something like that. But it looks like it's all going to be fine. It's all, I don't know where they're going to, I guess they're going to print some money. I guess they've got a printing press and they're just going to print some money. Or maybe they just don't even need money. It's just all digital. So they just send a bunch of numbers. That would be so nice if someone just sent a bunch of numbers into my bank account. What about yours? So tonight we're going to speak of rainbow currency, which is related to NESARA GESARA. Now, I know some of these topics are really in depth. I'm going to skim some of them. And I just sense that they are important. Like I say, I am either the night before or whatever I'm doing that day, I'll be watching a video, or I'll be looking on Twitter, or I'll just sense it's something that is relevant to us and it resonates with me. And so here I am, and I'm talking about it. And anyone who's joining us, I hope you like the video and subscribe to the channel. So it's going to be rainbow currency. And I don't know if any of you have heard about Hoxsey therapy, Harry Hoxsey. And that had to do with cures for cancer. And then I'm going to get into a telepathic message. And are you receiving telepathic messages and don't realize you are? Because telepathic messages, as I've shared with you, and our psychic phenomenon exercises are a charged impulse, and there's feelings and emotions attached. So have you been receiving telepathic messages? Didn't realize it, because we all have this ability to send information. Now, the more clear we are, which means that we've kind of delved into our inner life, we've turned inward, and we've recognized whatever's wrong. And you kind of know when something's wrong. There's some real clues to if you have something wrong. If there's something wrong, you kind of overreact. You overreact to something, or you get all out of balance. You might get emotional, and you kind of feel it. You feel jarred. Maybe it brings anger. Maybe it brings sadness, worry, fear, one of those. That means that that's an issue that you need to pay attention to, and you have to get through it. Because guess what? No one out here really cares. They're not going to help you. As I say, maybe a mother cares about a baby or a child, but everyone else, guess what they're trying to do? They're trying to survive like you are, especially right now in 2023, because there's so much chaos, so much upheaval. What's really going on? And we know that everyone's attention span is like 2 seconds long, 2 seconds. And you know how we know that? Because guess what? The scrolling, will they even get through watching a 30-second video? No, 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 apparently not. And then that's addictive. So we have become a race of, I guess we're addicted to stuff. We are bored easily, right? We like to look at shiny, pretty things out there in the matrix and the physical reality, the illusion, the linear world, the 3-dimension. Where I'm going in the 5D, which I suspect you might be as well, because here you are. Either you're here live or you're watching the replay, and there's something that maybe you're a little bit interested in that I'm speaking of. And so you too are someone that has a little bit more than that 30-second attention span. And if you do, then you know that what's going on the mainstream media, the news, the paid programming, is put there like a commercial. It's an hour, a 30-minute commercial. And what is it? It's stuff that someone wants you to know about, to believe. It's propaganda, it's programming, it's attachments, it's fake. So just be aware of that. And we are those out there. We are truth seekers. We're rebels. We're the dark horse. And we're the least likely to win the race. However, we have what's called a human lie detector test. So we know if you come in contact with someone and they pitch you a lie, you sense, do I tell the person that I know they're lying? Or do I just give them a pass and act like I'm not aware that they're lying? But sometimes if you give it away, because your expression on your face, and that's happened to me multiple times, where the person knows that I know that they're lying. And they'll say, what's that look for? And maybe you're like me, because I can't really hide how I feel anymore. And I don't even try. It's just too much work. It's too much work. So we're going to get on to these topics. Hey, we love your process. Oh, thanks for saying that, Trident. Trident vibes. What does that even mean? I'll have to look that up. So as always, I'm going to remind you, because we're 7 minutes in and I don't want to waste any time getting to the topics, I'm going to remind you dreams. And I always share my personal dreams. It's a personal experience because I find that there's value. You should get a dream journal. You should write down your dreams, because there's something in your dreams that you're supposed to know. Now, if you can't remember your dreams and you say, Mary, I haven't remembered my dreams for like 10 years. Well, that means either you're not sleeping well, you're not sleeping enough, or you have a blockage. And you can open up yourself and you can allow your dreams to come through. Now, maybe you had some kind of crisis or pain that happened in your life, and you're just in a place that you don't want to remember your dreams. Maybe it's you have this upheaval, you have this sense inside of you, and you can't bear it, so you tune it out. And I could tell you that I used to have these dreams, like I've shared with you, where I was always running. I had a lot of nightmares. I had a lot of choking dreams. I had a lot of being woken up and I couldn't breathe. And I didn't really want to go to sleep at night. Why would I want to go to sleep? So eventually I said, I'm not going to run anymore. And I conquered my fears. And maybe that's something you should do. Last night I had this very exciting dream, because I've shared with you that I had a speech problem, and I went to a speech coach for it's like 3.5 years, 6 hours a week, sitting in a chair, reciting and chanting all these words so that I would straighten out my speech. And she was in my dream. My speech coach was in my dream. And it was not the kind of dreams I used to have, because I think I've crossed over to the 5th dimension, because I tuned into myself and I got through a lot of issues. And the dream was very vivid. It was very dimensional. I remember what she looked like, what was said. It was expansive. And I know that as you awaken, as you come to more of an awareness and a higher consciousness, and your vibration raises. And how is it going to raise? Well, you're going to activate your heart chakra. We did a video about that. It was either this week or last week, and I gave you ways to open up your heart chakra. And I know just tuning in and reminding yourself of unconditional love and forgiveness will definitely activate something within you. Spending more time in nature. And so our dreams are very important. Our thoughts are very important. Your thoughts are very powerful. Everything that you think of, you can control your thoughts. And I don't mean like you're sitting there, white knuckling it, like, oh, I'm not going to think about that anymore. It's not like that. It's more or less you just become aware, like, that thought's not helping me. I'm going to let go of that. I'm going to discount that. It's more about that. It's more about bringing your attention to positive aspects in your life, positive characteristics, because you are a beautiful being of light. You are worthy. And maybe you had someone growing up that criticized you. Or maybe you had someone who nurtured you. Either way, your thoughts are very important. And then our intention. Our intention is important as well. To do our best, a commitment to do our best. Okay, so let's get on it. So today, what is rainbow currency? And I heard that terminology. And so I said, I'm going to go down the rabbit hole and discover myself what exactly is rainbow currency. And I know that I heard it during, I guess it was either a conversation someone else had, or I read about it. I'm not really exactly sure, but I know I heard about it in the last 24 hours, and it had been around before, obviously. And it's related to NESARA GESARA, and it's related to what's going to happen when this whole financial system collapses completely, because right now it seems like it's being held up by maybe some toothpicks, a stick of grass, I don't know what, but somehow it's getting pumped up. I don't know how long it's going to last. However, rainbow currency, I thought, seemed like something and heard might be a possibility for us. Some way that we are going to have an exchange of currency, of monetary funds. And right now, if we're all bankrupt, if the whole globe is bankrupt, well, I don't know about the whole globe. I know the USA is really bankrupt. We really don't have the money. It's all made up. Maybe rainbow currency was going to come into play. So it originated in the NESARA law, which I'm going to get into. And I don't know if all of you have heard about NESARA GESARA. It is the abolishment of the IRS and the Federal Reserve. And, there's going to be a lot more freedom for us. So it originates, rainbow currency originates in the NESARA law. I love how that sounds because it sounds so colorful. And so it creates a new U.S. rainbow currency backed by gold, silver, and platinum precious metals. Now, I know there's been those out there in the last few days that have been running out there and purchasing gold, because that is real. That is a possibility. So this is the ending of bankruptcy in the U.S., initiated by Franklin Roosevelt in 1933. So NESARA GESARA began over, this is where it stemmed from. I don't know if you ever heard of NESARA GESARA. So it stemmed from this situation with this elderly farmer in Colorado who purchased a farm with a loan from the Federal Land Bank. And this man who purchased it was Roy Schwarzenegger. And he had, I guess, written up this contract. And in this contract, he said that when he passed, the bank could take it back. So upon his death, the bank came to foreclose on the farm. And his son, Roy Schwarzenegger Jr., decided that wasn't cool. I'm not up for that. You're not going to take my family's farm away. And so he decided to file a class action lawsuit against the bank. Now, we've heard of and we've seen in many movies. Growing up, I'd see some of these movies and they take place in the in some of these Midwestern states, and you'd see this farm and these farmers, and then there'd be the bank coming up, pulling up in the car, and they'd be taping something on the door. I don't know if you've seen these kinds of movies like I had these films. Is that predictive programming? And they'd put something and they'd say, this is being foreclosed on because you didn't make your payments, or it wasn't enough money, or whatever it was. And so they would try to take these farmers' farms from them. And this became like a real issue. This was not just one case with this one man. This was rampant. It was a common, I guess, maybe the farmers didn't know how to do business, or maybe if they had a one season, their farms didn't go well, whatever the case may be, the bank would come and try to foreclose on their homes and on their farmland and take their farm away. So this Roy Schwarzenegger decided, I'm going to file a class action lawsuit against the bank, and he lost the case. But then he began telling others of bank fraud. And he said, hey, by the way, look what's going on here. This isn't great. What's going on for all of us? They're taking advantage of us. And so they brought many class action lawsuits against banks, and he brought one up against the federal government, and others followed. So this became some kind of like a domino effect. Like I mentioned, the domino effect of the banks falling and crashing and collapsing. This is what happened here. So the banks were foreclosing on properties using fraudulent methods, interest, illegal foreclosures, and not crediting for payments. So they were actually ripping off these farmers and then taking the property back. Eventually, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against the federal government and the banks that they had defrauded the farmers. Did everybody know about this? I didn't know about this. But I mean, I guess there probably has been some kind of film made about it. I mean, I don't think this went by with no one noticing. And so they defrauded these farmers and the U.S. citizens out of vast sums of money and property. So the court ruled that the IRS was a Puerto Rican trust and Federal Reserve was unlawful. And the income tax amendment was the only ratified by 4 states and not a legal amendment. Now, no one seems to have gone up against the IRS or the Federal Reserve because it's the government. Who can go up against the government? It's kind of a lost cause, right? I mean, don't you sense if you went and decided, I'm going to file a lawsuit, what are the chances that you're going to win this case? I don't know. It seems almost impossible because they're Goliath, aren't they? They are this huge, overpowering, and then they have all these branches, and they're going to say, oh, we're going to send someone to your house, and I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe put you in jail. Who knows? And the income tax amendment was only ratified by 4 states and not a legal amendment. The IRS code was not enacted, and in positive law within the code of the federal regulations. So GESARA came up because the IRS just seemed like it wasn't doing right by the citizens of the U.S. And so the new GESARA currency, backed by precious metals, gold, silver, and platinum, comes from the original NESARA bill. So the National Economic Stabilization and Recovery Act is NESARA. That's the symbolism of the word NESARA. National Economic Stabilization and Recovery Act. And it's a bill that's proposed by Harvey Bernard. So Harvey Bernard was a retired engineer, and he had this theory that he came up about money in the 1980s. And then by the 1990s, he proposed this whole GESARA bill. And it got brought to Congress. And he wrote this book called The Draining of the Swamp in 1996. Doesn't that sound like a familiar phrase? The draining of the swamp. I've heard of that before because they're referring to the deep state, right? Do you see how I've traveled down the rabbit hole? Let me tell you, there's books and books of information regarding this. I'm just taking a little tidbit. Hold on, I have someone at my door. I too have guests sometimes. Elsa, come back and join us. Anyway, so what ends up happening was with the NESARA, GESARA, and I know some of you have said, yes, abolish the IRS. Cross our fingers, the Federal Reserve. Now, I've heard that the White Hats have actually taken over the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury and the IRS. So is that still relevant? Is that still happening? Where's the money going to? Hey, Bob Harding, IRS, the IRS. So the Federal Reserve would be abolished. Elsa, come back here. I can't do anything without my co-host, Elsa. So the Federal Reserve would be abolished, which means that we wouldn't have to pay income taxes. And that's something that's kind of in the works right now. Your personal privacy would be redeemed. So you would no longer have your personal information out there. All military actions worldwide would establish peace globally. This sounds good, doesn't it? I like the sound of this. Debt forgiveness, so you wouldn't have to pay any mortgage, any credit cards. You wouldn't have to pay any taxes and or loans, and there would be money put towards humanitarian efforts. And to me, all of this sounds wonderful. This is like peace on earth. This is where we should be, because we should be waking up every morning. We should be coming out of our homes and hugging one another. We shouldn't have this divide that's created between these two parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, blah, blah, blah. But then when you go to Washington, guess what all those guys are doing? They're all collaborating, and they're making plans to just kind of spring stuff on us. Crisis, 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 worry, 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 fear, fear, fear. And then they throw stuff at us, and they wait to see what sticks. And if people will buy into it. And then they shift it all over to the mainstream media, and they say, put this on the news and make that important and put fear into everyone so that they do it. And then guess what? We're all trying to buy, have consumerism and capitalism and competitiveness. And I don't want it anymore. I want to wake up in the morning, go outside, have fun, and we should all have a purpose. What is your purpose? Is your only purpose to make money, to buy stuff? Because you know what? The gold is within you. The gold isn't stuff. It doesn't matter how expensive this glass is. Who cares? Who cares how expensive this pen is, or this top, or whatever? That's just stuff. It's not important. It's an inanimate object. You're a living being of light. You are the gold. You are highly advanced. And I'm going to share with you that as you awaken more and more, as you allow more light codes to be activated within you, your original blueprint that's within you, you will realize that you are the gold. You're a beautiful being of light. And how are you going to do that? Do things like listen to those calming sounds, the Hertz sounds. You find a video with Hertz. I mean, I think it's like 528, 632, whatever it is. You can Google it. I mean, DuckDuckGo, not Google. DuckDuckGo it, and you can find it, and it will be very calming. Like when I had my friend Shayna Blackmore. That's getting a lot of views. So that means people are watching and listening to it. And it's 30 minutes of a sound bath, and it will calm your system down. We don't want to have racing heartbeat. We don't want to grow old any faster than we have to. We want to stay young as long as possible and be happy, right? So we want to get away from this whole concept that money's more important, because you're more important. So there's going to be debt forgiveness, mortgage forgiveness, no credit cards, money for humanitarian purposes, and there's going to be technologies such as free energy and sonic healing machines. Now there are these med beds out there, and there are ways to have transportation other than gas and oil. It's just that those are hidden from us. Those patents were bought by the government so that they would continue to make money. And that I'm going to get into this therapy. I'm going to just change subjects because I want to get to the psychic phenomenon. So well, you know what? Let me mention angels. Angels are beings of light. They're from the heavens to protect humanity. They descend and ascend on a staircase. They are celestial. They're benevolent. They're here to protect us and guide us. And you can ask for angels to come into your life. Maybe it's an archangel. Maybe it's guardian angels. They say we have 2 guardian angels that are with us from birth. And I believe that, and I've seen that because I've kind of looked through my third eye, because we are not able to, through our eyes, see what's going on here in this physical reality. There's a lot more going on. It looks like there's empty space here, doesn't it? I mean, there's that painting, but there's a lot going on right here that we don't even realize. There's energies and frequencies, and maybe there's an angel flying by. And you can sense that. Do you ever walk into a room and you sense something negative or something positive, but there's nothing there? That's because there's something there. There's some kind of frequency. And there are people who have established very strong abilities related to their psychic phenomenon. Maybe they are seeing angels or beings of light or spirits. I have a friend who called me this morning and she said, oh my gosh, I jumped out of bed and and everyone came into my room and said, what's wrong? Because she said, I saw a little boy. It was like a real person. That's how strong her abilities have come. And this has only happened in the last few weeks because of all the light from the solar flares that are coming onto the earth. There's X-class flares, and they're like little bitty, there's little bitty moments before this grand solar flash that's going to occur. Now there's this grand solar flash, there's an event, there's disclosure, they're saying that there's going to be 3 days of darkness. What are the 3 days of darkness? Hey, Trident, you're writing a whole lot today. If things were set up nicely for humanity, I would go outside and in the yeah, but right now we're in for the society. Well, you know what? I do believe what's going on right now is there's this huge divide actually. And I sense it so much right now because I went away. I had that vacay. And before I went away, I had 3 days of feeling as though I wasn't in my body. I said, oh my gosh, it's like I had hallucinogenic drugs in the Matrix, and I'm at my job, and it was really strange. And I did feel as though I was burnt out. However, there was more to it than that. And I think it was the moments before, the days before all of this change was to occur. Now, I don't know if you've been experiencing strange dreams, strange feelings within you, and we have to gain harmony and balance and be grounded if this is going to happen. If you're going to start to feel this way, or you have felt this way, you want to be grounded, which means that you want to imagine your feet firmly planted in the earth's surface, spend 5 to 15 minutes a day in nature, regardless of the weather. Get outside. Stay away from toxic beings. Meditate 5 to 15 minutes. Do some stillness, calm your heart. We're going to do some of that in a little while because this is a lot of change. And so what's about to happen right now is you can sense that the financial world is topsy-turvy because the system has got to break down before a new system comes into play. And I've said that over and over again. And that's kind of how it is. It has to completely diminish for us to build it up. And how are we going to build up this new system? We're going to build it up through our consciousness. Now, I know there was this global meditation a few weeks ago, and they're speaking about doing that again. And 2 nights ago, we did some light work, and I asked you all if you would spin some light around the globe. You could even pick a specific country if you wanted to, and that's what light workers do. We work on with light, and we send light to certain communities, and we're placed in a specific location on the globe, the light workers and the star seeds, because we're supposed to bring and ground light in that specific location. And maybe you're a light worker like I am, and that's what you're supposed to do. But to get back to it, what's going to happen is we are all going to kind of undergo more change, and it's going to come within us. And there are those out there who aren't prepared for it. Now, I know 10% of the population is awakened, and they say 8 billion. So what is that? 800 million are awakened? I don't know. I'm not good at math. But 8 billion and 10% are awakened. I know 20% or 25% are organic, and they didn't take any medicine. You know the medicine I'm referring to. And my point is that there's so many out there who aren't awakened, which means they're going to be in for crisis and fear. And I don't know if there's going to be panic. And there's going to be disclosure. They said that there's going to be days of disclosure, which all of the information, the truths about human trafficking, what's been done to humanity and babies and children, and all of the fraud, all of the crimes against humanity, all of the bad stuff is going to come out, and everyone's going to hear about it, and they're going to be in shock. Now, if you've already been awakened, you've been kind of gaining this information slowly. But if you're someone, or there are those out there who haven't, it's going to be a huge shock for them. They're not going to believe it. I couldn't believe it. I was horrified that other humans would harm, people this way. And so that's where the 3 days of darkness comes in, or the days of darkness. And then everything's kind of going to have to come to a grinding stop. And maybe we're not going to use the internet anymore. Maybe we're not going to use technology. I don't know. I know there's highly advanced technologies that are going to be shown to us, and we're going to become aware of. And so the world is about to change. How soon is that going to be? I would say before the end of the year. There's going to be a lot of change that's occurring before 2023 is over. So now I'm going to get into who Hoxsey was. I don't know if you ever heard of Harry Hoxsey. Well, Hoxsey therapy, I thought I'd bring this up because I, again, heard about him. And I said, you know what? I think it's something that might be helpful to anyone out there. So it's alternative medical treatment for cancer. And there was this man called Harry Hoxsey, and he was born in October 23, 1901. And so his father was a veterinarian who had inherited his father's cancer formulas. So it was basically a family that had passed down this information. So Harry Hoxsey's father, John, was a veterinarian, and he began treating the animals that came to him that had cancer. He began treating them for cancer. And he even helped Ringling Brothers, Barnum Bailey Circus, or just called Ringling Brothers back then, I believe. Their horses had cancer, and he treated those horses. And his father had 11 siblings. And so he spent his time, Harry, as he grew up, he was born, spent his spare time helping at his father's vet office. And he watched his father help cure cancer from these animals with these special formulas. Now, before his father passed away, he gave Harry his cancer formulas. And his father warned him that doctors would not like this. They would not be encouraging, because I guess then they would solve the mystery of cancer, I guess. And he warned him about other doctors, and he began treating people for cancer without a license. Harry, after his father passed away, he began treating patients who had cancer. It was kind of a word of mouth thing, but it was working, and he was helping people. And he left his job in the mines. He did not have a doctor's license. He did not go to med school. He came across this man called Dr. Bruce Miller, who believed in the cancer treatment. And he said, I'm going to be your business partner, and let's open up a clinic. So they opened up a clinic together for cancer treatments. And March 1st, 1924, they opened up the first Hoxsey clinic. And Harry really wanted to go to med school and get a degree, but Dr. Bruce said, no, you don't need it. We can just use the fact that I'm already a doctor, and we'll go ahead with this clinic. And he was even commissioned to remove a cancer tumor from a 66-year-old man who was a former police desk sergeant at this hospital amphitheater, and it was in front of 10 doctors and 50 intern students. And right before these people, Harry Hoxsey had removed this cancer from this man's shoulder, and it was, and everyone was in awe of him. Unfortunately, of course, here comes the bad guy, the villain. This man called Dr. Morris Fishburne wanted the formula for himself, or maybe to, I don't know, hide it. And he flagged him as a quack. And he was in charge of the Journal of American Medical Association. So because Harry would not give him the formula, this man called him a quack. And then for the next 25 years, he battled him to try to get rid of Harry. Now, they knew that this medicine to cure cancer and all these treatments was a gold mine. So they didn't want Harry's formula for curing cancer. So Dr. Fishburne wrote a hit piece on the vet father, and eventually the state medical board charged Hoxsey with practicing medicine without a license. So it just got worse and worse for this poor guy, but he never gave up. He never gave up because he wanted to help people. So his case went to trial, but then he was found not guilty. So he got okay. But then there was it went on and on and on and on. I could talk for an hour about it. I'm just going to skim the top of this because I went down the rabbit hole with this too. 7 warrants out for him that never made it to court. He was arrested from 1937 to 1939, 100 times. And he had to relocate his clinics. There was padlocks put on his clinics. And then finally, the poor man was exhausted. In 1958, he suffered a heart attack. And then the FDA closed 17 of his clinics. That's how many clinics he had, 17. You don't have 17 clinics and things aren't going well. There's a reason that there were 17. So he went out of business and then he passed away. But before he passed away, he gave his formulas to his nurse, Mildred Nilsson. And she learned of all his secrets, and she created a biomedical center. And there in the biomedical center, they treated with natural herbs, vitamins, minerals, positive attitudes, a special diet, and lifestyle counseling. And I'm going to list some of these herbs. I don't know if you're interested in them, because to me, it's almost like reading Greek. However, so some of the herbs that were treated, these are some of them. They treated external cancers with red paste made of bloodroot. Here are some herbs I'm going to share with you. Wildflower, zinc chloride. I'm going to write them down in the description here. And sulfide. You know, I'm bad at pronouncing. I butcher word. Essic, Essiac. It was 9 herbs. I'm going to read them. Red clover, burdock root, poke root, barberry, prickly ash bark. See, these are like legit roots. Apparently, these cure cancer. Prickly ash bark, buckthorn bark, cascara sagrada, see, I can't pronounce this, root, licorice root, I've heard that, potassium iodine. So there we go. So that's what this man did. He gave up his life for it pretty much. And I wonder, you know, just like the IRS, that was made up, and they really tried to do people in. Anyone that kind of decided that this wasn't what they wanted to do, pay taxes, they tried to do in this poor man, Harry Hoxsey, who was only trying to help people. All right, everyone. Well, we're going to start early on the psychic phenomenon because it's really late. So it's telepathic messages. So everybody out there, do you know what a telepathic message is? Well, it's mind to mind. It's a communication between minds, isn't it? And so how are we going to have telepathic messages? Well, self-confidence. I'm going to share with you how to send a telepathic message if you don't already know. Self-confidence, no doubt, and you're going to clear your mind. So here are some signs. Before we get into how to do it, I'm going to tell you some signs of you might already have received some telepathic messages. And I know in the past I said, okay, let's relax and send someone a message, mind to mind, sender and receiver. I don't know if you've done that before, but here are some signs that maybe you already have received some. Here's some signs. 1, you can interpret thoughts and emotions, transmission of thoughts, and you get instant vibrations when you talk to someone. So you might come in contact with someone and instantly you know exactly what they're thinking already. You might be very clear. You might be more aware than you thought. And you might say, I think I know what they're thinking. I mean, you're not saying it out loud, but all of a sudden you might realize, and that's because you're receiving their thoughts. You know already without them even telling you exactly what they're thinking. You know what they are thinking without them even telling you. You just know. All right, so that's one sign. Just like if you were told a lie, you know, like I said, you're a human lie detector. You can tell if someone's lying to you you just know the energy that's coming to you, you sense is false. You decide whether or not you want to tell them you know. And you might be like me where you can't hide that you know. And they say, why? What's wrong? What's going on? What's the matter? Because I know they're lying to me. And you are spiritually bonded with someone you love. So you might receive telepathically information from someone if you're in close connection with them. Either you have a heart-to-heart love, like it's a loved one. Maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a close friend, but you know what they're thinking. You might not even be in close proximity. They might be in another state, but you know what's going on with them because that's how close. I know they say that about twins. Twins can sense each other no matter if they're even in the same location. And you might realize if someone's lying to you, their thoughts betray them. And you, hey, Bob Harden. At church, sometimes I receive the most shocking thoughts or messages. Wow. Well, you know what? I receive when I go to church, when I've gone to church, I receive a lot of very confusing energy. So I put light around me because I don't know what's going on there in church sometimes. It's very strange. So spiritually, you might be spiritually bonded with someone and the love between you, you can enter their mind and you can send them information. So you are capable, whether you realize it or not, of sending someone, like right now, why don't you try it? And I'm going to tell you the steps from sending a telepathic message, but you can right now on your own, you can think of someone You can think of a thought, someone that you love, and send them that thought. So I'm going to try it myself right now. I'm going to send someone a thought. I'm going to send them information. Now, maybe you're just sending them like a good wish. Maybe you're asking them a question, whatever you choose, but you are capable of sending someone that you're close to a telepathic message. Now, two, here's another sign that you are receiving or sending telepathic communications. You experience instinctive telepathy. So it's usually experienced when an individual recognizes the feelings or needs of another person, even when they're not physically. You might know if someone's in need. I was upset the other day, and I had 4 of my friends who hadn't talked to me in a long time reach out to me. They all called me. 4 of my friends called me this week. Within an hour, all within a period of 1 hour, 4 of my friends called because they knew I wasn't okay. And I asked the one that I did speak to later in the day, I said, do you know you were one of 4 of my best friends that contacted me? She said, I knew something was wrong. That's why I was calling. So I was giving out this information without whether I realized it or not, and they took it. Now, 3, you sense support and love. Maybe without even being around the person that's in your life, they're sending you wishful thoughts and hope and love. And you can sense that. You feel as though that you're protected by that and you're safe by that. And just by me telling you this, let me remind you that you're capable of doing this consciously. You know, when we're thinking of someone that we love, now have you ever met someone and they feeling something like really like that you feel as though their energy is globbing on you and you're like, wait a second, I don't feel this way. And it might be romantic, it might be a friendship, and you just sense it, but they're not even saying it to you because they're telepathically sending you information. You're like, oh, I don't feel that way. You know exactly how they're feeling because it's that strong. That's instinctive. Now, you might sense the presence of someone who needs protection and you send them protection and love as well. And then you might, number 4 is a strange feeling in the eye area. Now, I never knew about this. Have you ever heard of this? So if you're receiving a telepathic message from someone, you might receive a strange feeling in your eye area, which is an unusual reaction to your eye. And maybe you need to rub your lid. Maybe it feels like a tingle in your eye. And it's a sign from your subconscious that you're receiving a certain energy vibration. So pay attention for that. I'm going to pay attention from that. Now, I wear contact lenses, so my eyes bother me anyway. So, and they, like I said, when I'm sitting in front of the computer all day, it starts to affect my eyes. But I'm going to pay attention now to this reaction in my eye, this tingling in my eye. Now, here's number 5. Suddenly you feel tension for no apparent reason. Now, I've had that. Have you ever had that feeling that without even the person telling you, you feel tension? I mean, we know that we've been in situations where they say you can cut the air with a knife because it's so tense. That's kind of a term, isn't it? We can cut. It's so tense in here, we could cut it with a knife. And that's not even someone saying something. You just get the energy. Oh, I'm getting a pain from saying that. You just get the energetic vibration from someone. You get their thoughts coming at you. If you've ever gotten into an argument with someone, you can start to feel anxiety because you can feel their vibes coming at you. That's a telepathic message. We don't even realize that we've been receiving this like our whole lifetime, right? Now, here, this is interesting because I speak of this so readily. Communication through dreams. You might receive a telepathic message through a dream. Someone might be sending you information through a dream. Now, I believe last night I had these telepathic messages, I guess I could say, and it came from the spirit of my voice and speech coach that I had, who passed away, I I guess she passed away 7 years ago, but I was very close to her. And I believe she came through and she was giving me a message. Do you want me to share with you what happened? I will. By the way, anyone who's joining us, I hope you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Well, she gave me this card, and I spoke of this quantum financial system, and we're going to get this card that no one else can hack and take from you. She gave me this card, which is so funny because 2 nights ago I shared with you the quantum financial system, and they say that we're going to have this card that no one else can use because it's your DNA. And in the dream last night, she gave me this card that was mine. Very funny. So you might receive this communication through dreams, a telepathic message, and maybe, oh, hey, Jenny, your energetic signature. That's right. Exactly, your energetic signature. Because the Pleiadians are going to come in and they're going to tune into your heart. And they're going to say, let's see if you have a humanitarian heart. Because if you do, then your $50 is going to equal $1 million. I like that idea. The $50 is going to equal $1 million because you have a humanitarian plan, right? The Pleiadians, that's what the Pleiadians are going to do. So communication through dreams. You're going to have conscious dreams that communicate through them. So during sleep, the noise from the outside world is significantly quiet. So you very well will receive telepathic messages through your dream state. Now, and a prediction. And then, the last but not least, you might be receiving a telepathic message if all of a sudden you just feel like smiling because someone's sending you something positive. Okay, so let's practice doing a telepathic message. How are we going to do this? Here we go. All right, so let's work on this together. Hold on, I'm going to get some more water because I'm super thirsty. And by the way, let me share with you that you should be drinking lots of water. Drink lots of water now because of all the light that's coming onto the earth. You need to be drinking a lot of water. Okay, so here we go. We're going to practice sending a telepathic message. Here we go. You ready? So what are we going to start with, like we always do with our psychic phenomenon? All right, so we're going to relax. We're not at the 1 hour mark, but we're going ahead with it. I'd like you to let out a breath. I'd like you to let go of any tension in your body. You're going to release any tension. We're going to send it right out of our body. Maybe send it out of your hands. Say, tension, leave my hands, leave my arms, leave my head. Maybe move your neck around. We're like a jellyfish. We're going to really sit down into our chair. Drop all your weight into your chair, right? Or wherever you're sitting. You're going to be comfortable. I mean, maybe you're choosing to lay down. We're just going to relax. I'm going to try to have some stillness and quiet. We're going to push away any thoughts right now because we're relaxing. We're dropping down into our physical body, our vessel. Let me remind you to have just a very natural flow to your breathing. All right, so this is how we're going to do it. Okay, I'm going to take you through the steps of sending a telepathic message. All right, so hopefully your eyes are closed. I think it'll be more valuable if your eyes are closed. So I'd like you to, if you feel that you're at peace and you're relaxed, you're having concentration, you're having belief you can do this, you're having self-confidence, you're pushing away any doubt. Because if you have doubt, of course you're not going to be able to do it. We want to go into this positively. Put all of your energy and be like, I can do this. I can send a telepathic message. You've been doing it all along. You don't even realize it. Here we are doing it right now. All right, so I'd like you to close your eyes. And I'd like you to visualize the person that you would like to send a message to. So choose someone in your life that you would like to send a message to. Now, I'd like you to visualize their physical being, the color of their hair, the way their face looks, their eyes. And I'd like you to imagine that this person is sitting right in front of you. So this person that you're sending the telepathic message to is sitting right in front of you. And you can see them. You look at all their physical attributes. Remember what it feels like to be around them. What kind of sense do you get being around them? So all of the details. Now your eyes are closed. You're imagining this person that you want to send this telepathic message to is sitting right in front of you. What's the color of their hair? What does their face look like? What is their height? What is their weight? How long is their hair? How do they sit or stand? Remember these physical attributes. There's characteristics about the person because you want to imagine as much as you can about the person. Now I'd like you to imagine, here they are sitting in front of you. I'd like you to imagine, what does it feel like when you interact with them face to face? What is the emotional feeling like? Okay, so that's step 2. Step 3, feel the emotions as if they're present. So imagine what it's like when they're present with you, and what does it feel like? I know these are details, but you know what? This is how you're going to stretch your senses. This is how you're going to learn more about yourself and learn about everyone that you're in contact with. And so you feel the emotions as if they're present, and you're going to focus on this feeling, and you're creating a connection between you and them right now. So you've imagined what they look like. You've imagined what it's like if they were right in front of you. What does it look like when they're standing or sitting? What does it feel like when you're interacting with them? And now you're imagining a connection between you and them. Now I'd like you to focus on a simple image or word. Visualize the details. So maybe it's going to be, you pick it. It's entirely up to you. A simple image or word. You're going to visualize the details. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Whatever the item is, you imagine it. Now send that message to this person. A clear mental image. Imagine the message traveling from you to them. And you look at their face as they're receiving the information. Okay? Did you get all that? So just try it. So again, you're focusing on a simple image or word. You're visualizing the details. What does it look like to you? Whatever it is, imagine it. Now you're transmitting this message very clearly to them. And it's traveling from you to them. You're imagining you're sending them this information. And what does it look like on their face? Okay, so that's how you can intentionally send a telepathic message. Now we went through a list of, without us realizing that we've been receiving them throughout our lives, telepathic messages, because we are all capable of this. Like I've said in the past, we really haven't practiced this. Now I'd like to do one more exercise, if that's okay with you, before we go. I'd like us to go back to light work, because I believe wholeheartedly that that's very positive for us. Now, I know we spoke about the chakras the other day, and I'm going to get back into that the next time I do next time I do a video. And here are the chakras. Let me remind you, we did a exercise on Tuesday night with the stellar gateway, the divine gateway chakra, which is, they say, 18 inches beyond the top of our head. And that's connecting us to other realms, to a higher consciousness. And so just be aware of this, because like I've said in the past, you might say, oh, this isn't having any effect on me. But little by little, this information that you're kind of integrating into your system is going to have an effect. I've told you that, I guess it was 3 years ago, I was doing these interviews. I did Twitch. And I would have these different guests. And one of them was Julie Clark, and she activated within me my light codes, my starseed abilities, because she spoke about the different star families and the extraterrestrials. Now, I'm not saying that's my personal experience. I don't know what's going to activate for you. I don't know if you're interested in being activated, but it's where the world is going. So here we go. Let's try something else right now. I'd like to do some light work. I hope that's okay with you. I'd like us to close our eyes like we just did a bit ago. I'd like to relax. Now, I know we've practiced the psychic phenomenon and we've spoken about different clairsenses. And so tonight I really like to tune into one in specifically because I believe that this is going to help you. So let's close our eyes. Let's drop down. Let's relax all of our body parts and try to breathe naturally and just quiet ourselves down so it's to a place of stillness. And we're probably just imagining ourselves being very relaxed and pushing up all of our thoughts because we don't need our thoughts right now. And we're taking away any self-doubt. We're dropping down into our physical body, our vessel. We're having focus and concentration and faith. And we're believing we can do this. And now I'd like you to just tune into your clairaudience. And the reason why is I've noticed that the clairaudience is very important when it comes to the psychic phenomenon because the sounds that we hear can kind of lead us to other clairsenses. And so I'd like you to tune into your hearing right now. I'd like you to hear wherever you are, and I'm going to be quiet for a minute. And I know you might say, oh, this is boring, but it's all advantageous because it's stretching you. It's stretching your abilities. So I'm going to be quiet for a minute. I'd like you to hear wherever you are. And try to listen for energies, vibrations, sounds that you aren't normally hearing, like listening for. Try to hear everything. Try to hear if there's something going on in the physical reality that you don't see. And then even beyond the walls of the room, like as far as you can hear. So I'm going to be quiet and let's try to do this for a second. Okay, good. So this is just practice for us to be more aware. As soon as I started tuning into my clairaudience, it started helping me to receive information through my clairvoyance and also my clairsustenance. And it starts to combine. So I'm suggesting that you tune every once in a while to really listening. Really, really listen. The creatures out, the wild animals, and even our little pets that we have, they all have a very strong sense of hearing. And they can hear things that we can't hear because we have not really tuned into that. Now, I know on some level, everything's affecting our systems. We've just decided to tune it out. All right, so now I would like everyone, we're going to try to do, oh my gosh, I'm going to give you a suggestion right now. So we're going to just, again, remind ourselves that we're just relaxing. We're dropping down into our physical being. We're having I'm getting some pain in my head tonight. Natural breathing. I'm going to give a suggestion, and you just pick one of your clairsenses. So maybe you've activated your third eye, your mind's eye. Maybe it's your sense of feeling. Maybe it's your claircognizance, your knowing. You just have a knowing. Maybe it's your clairaudience, your hearing. Maybe it's your sense of touch. So choose at least one of your clear senses, and I'm going to give you a suggestion. Now, my suggestion right now is, I just saw it, so I'm sharing with you. I'd like you to imagine that there's you're outside, you're on the ground, and there's a very tall ladder that reaches so far up to the sky that you can't see the end of it. And I'd like you to imagine climbing up the ladder and what you experience. So that's the suggestion. So choose one of your clear senses. There's a ladder that reaches all the way up beyond the clouds. And I'd like you to experience whatever impressions you're receiving. Maybe you see a mental picture. Maybe you will hear something. Maybe you will see something. Maybe you will feel something. Whatever it is, you have a knowing. So just try it. I'm going to stop talking for a minute, and I'm going to try it myself. This was a little more difficult. You know why? Although I did get there, because you're pushing away your thoughts, but then you're imagining this. And I think it's I just think it's a little bit more difficult, because you're trying to, I don't know, imagine climbing up a ladder. But it was something that came through to me, so I thought I would ask. I did receive something. I was actually staying on the ladder. I didn't want to get off the ladder because I was kind of scared. I used to be scared of heights, so I think I didn't want to get off the ladder, even though I climbed all the way up it, because I was scared I was going to fall. But I did receive some impressions. I don't know if you received any. I did hear some voices because I was really focused on my clairaudience. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining us. I'm going to remind you, I don't have any interviews this weekend. I have 2 next weekend. I have this meditation group I'm starting at my job in the Matrix on Saturday. And so that's why I don't have any interviews. However, I'm going to try to get back on before the end of the week. I'm wishing well for everyone. I want good things for you. And I'm spinning light, and you're in the center of it, and you're making a wish. And I want good things. I hope that everyone is getting through everything they need to become more balanced, more in harmony, find their personal happiness. Hey, Bob Harding, thanks. So I'm spinning light, and I'm imagining light, and you're making a wish. I want good things for you. And I'm sending it to you, and I'm spinning it this way, and you're right in the center of it. I want good things for you. We all deserve the best. We all deserve to be happy and healthy and in harmony. So I'm spinning light around you, and I'm sending it to you. So everyone be well. Now, I know sometimes I start speaking about something because I thought I was going to do something about light tonight, but then I kind of went off because that wasn't what I was supposed to do. All right, everyone. So tonight we spoke about rainbow currency, NESARA, GESARA, Hoxsey therapy, which is related to healing cancer. These are all suggestions. I'm just bringing information. And that's what I'm doing here. And about how to send a telepathic message. I'm wishing you well. Everyone have a wonderful night. and blessings to you. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and everyone be well. Bye.